Hi, everyone. I'm Margaret, a 30-year-old marketing consultant living in a cozy suburban neighborhood. Life felt pretty balanced with my wonderful husband, Mike, and our energetic 5-year-old daughter, Hazel. Mike, a high school teacher, and I shared not just a deep love for each other, but for our lively little girl, who brought endless joy into our world. One weekend, we had an important work conference to attend, a significant opportunity for both of us professionally. That's when Mike's Aunt Jennifer offered to babysit Hazel. Jennifer was well-meaning but known for her strict, old-fashioned ways. She had always been involved in our lives, the kind of person who clung tightly to tradition, shaping much of Mike's family values. Jennifer really loves Hazel, Mike reassured me one evening as we discussed our plans. She's always been there when we've needed her. I nodded, tucking a loose strand of Hazel's hair behind her ear as I watched her draw. I know, but you remember how she can be. About, well, everything. Remember last Christmas? She nearly lost it because Hazel wore her hair down at church. Mike chuckled. Yeah, but she means well, and we need someone for the weekend. Hazel likes her anyway. He was right. Hazel did enjoy Jennifer's old stories and the way she baked cookies with meticulous care, ensuring every single one had exactly the same amount of chocolate chips. Okay, maybe you're right. It's just for 2 days, I agreed, though a small part of me still felt uneasy. The next day, Jennifer arrived early, her hair pulled back in its usual tight bun, carrying a bag full of crafts and books for Hazel. Thank you so much for this, Jennifer. We really appreciate it, I said, handing her a list of emergency numbers and Hazel's schedule, now pinned to the fridge. Of course, darling. Go, have a wonderful time. We'll be just fine, won't we, Hazel? Jennifer smiled warmly, kneeling down to hug Hazel, who gave a cautious but curious nod. As Mike and I got into the car, I glanced back and saw them waving from the doorway. A knot formed in my stomach, not about the conference, but about leaving Hazel under the strict gaze of Aunt Jennifer. Her ideas about how young girls should act and dress came from a different era, and our free-spirited Hazel was anything but traditional. Are you sure about this? I murmured as we drove off. Mike reached over, giving my hand a reassuring squeeze. It'll be fine, Em. It's just a weekend, and we've left her with Jennifer before. What's the worst that could happen? Little did we know, that weekend would test the strength of our family bonds in ways we never expected. The weekend away was a refreshing break for Mike and me. We enjoyed the rare opportunity to step back from the daily grind, talking about not just work, but also Hazel's future and our upcoming family vacation. As we sat in a quaint cafe, sipping coffee, I smiled at Mike. It's nice to have this time together, I said, feeling a sense of peace. Yeah, we should do this more often. Maybe a couple's retreat next time, Mike suggested playfully. I laughed, though a hint of concern still lingered. As long as Jennifer's not babysitting. Back at home, things weren't as peaceful. Hazel's boundless energy was in stark contrast to Jennifer's orderly, quiet lifestyle. Hazel, dear, let's tidy up these toys and remember, inside voices, Jennifer instructed as she followed Hazel from room to room, her patience thinning with each of Hazel's enthusiastic bursts. But Aunt Jennifer, why can't I sing while I play? Mommy lets me at home, Hazel protested, her long hair bouncing as she skipped around with her dolls. Jennifer frowned, her thoughts on proper behavior clashing with Hazel's free-spirited nature. It's not ladylike to be so unruly, and your hair, it's far too much for a little girl to manage. By Sunday morning, Jennifer had reached her limit. She decided that if she was to care for Hazel properly, some changes were necessary, starting with that unruly hair. Hazel, come here, love. We're going to fix your hair and make it easier for you to play. Jennifer coaxed her into a seat, scissors in hand, unaware of the lasting mark she was about to make. When Mike and I finally pulled into the driveway. Later that day, we were eager to scoop Hazel up and hear all about her weekend. But the scene that greeted us froze us in our tracks. Hazel sat on the porch, her head bowed, tiny hands covering her eyes as she sobbed. My heart sank. When she looked up, I felt a jolt of horror. Her once beautiful hair was almost completely gone, with only a few uneven patches remaining. What happened? I gasped, rushing to her side. Mike was right behind me, his voice booming with a mixture of shock and fury. Jennifer, what have you done? Jennifer appeared in the doorway, her expression a blend of defiance and self-righteousness. I did what was necessary for her own good. Her hair was too much, too immodest for a girl her age. My shock turned to rage as I held Hazel close, her tears soaking into my shirt. How could you decide that for her, for us? I demanded, my voice trembling with disbelief and anger. This wasn't just an overstep, it was a violation. Mike stood beside me, his jaw clenched as he confronted his aunt. The pleasant memories of our weekend vanished, replaced by a storm of betrayal. You had no right, Jennifer. None. Jennifer, unrepentant, clasped her hands tightly in front of her. I did what I thought was best. Her hair was out of control, and you weren't here to see how it affected her play. Modesty and discipline. These are values she needs. Mike's usual calm demeanor gave way to a protective edge. But she's not your child, Aunt Jennifer. You crossed a line. We trusted you. His voice was firm, yet I could see the conflict in his eyes. This was his family, but he stood unwaveringly by my side. Jennifer stubbornly defended her actions, clinging to her beliefs about tradition and discipline. My anger hardened into resolve. This wasn't a one-time mistake, it was a symptom of a much deeper issue. Over the next few days, I reached out to other family members, piecing together a pattern of behavior I hadn't fully seen before. Stories surfaced about Jennifer's strict rules, her critical comments at family gatherings, and her insistence on outdated values many of us didn't share. Each story fueled my determination. Mike and I sat down, united in our decision to distance ourselves from Jennifer for Hazel's sake. We need to focus on Hazel's well-being, I told him, my voice steady with determination. She needs to feel safe and loved, not judged and controlled. Mike nodded, the weight of the decision clear in his eyes. I know, and we'll do whatever it takes to support her. Together, we explained to Hazel that what happened wasn't her fault. We reassured her that her hair and her choices were hers alone. We spent extra time with her, reading stories, playing games, and slowly watching her bright spirit return. We made a fun game of finding colorful scarves and playful hats to adorn her head, turning a painful situation into something a little more bearable. Jennifer's reaction to our decision was a mix of disbelief and bitterness, but it didn't sway us. The need to protect our daughter's emotional well-being was clearer than ever. Through this ordeal, we redefined the boundaries of family involvement and the values we wanted to nurture in our home. Jennifer's presence in our lives became less frequent, and though it was painful, the space allowed our family to heal. Hazel's resilience in the weeks that followed was nothing short of inspiring. Mike and I focused on her recovery, filling each day with new fun hair accessories. We found vibrant scarves, sparkly clips, and superhero-themed hats that Hazel wore proudly. "Look, Daddy, I'm a superhero today," Hazel exclaimed one morning, twirling in a bright pink cap with a cape flowing from the back. Mike crouched down, his eyes shining with pride and joy. "You sure are, honey, the bravest superhero I know." He lifted her in his arms, spinning her around as her laughter filled the room, a sweet sound of healing. As our family found peace, word of Jennifer's actions spread through our extended family. Phone calls and messages of disbelief and support poured in. Relatives shared their own stories of Jennifer's overbearing ways, and soon a natural social shift occurred. Jennifer, once a frequent presence at family gatherings, found herself receiving fewer invitations. Friends and family, uncomfortable with her extreme actions. The realization that her influence was waning hit Jennifer hard, but it was a necessary shift for the rest of us. In this newfound family dynamic, Mike and I formed stronger bonds, not just with each other but with relatives who shared our values: freedom, individuality, and respect. As Hazel's hair began to grow back, her curls became symbols of her regained autonomy and the love that surrounded her. One evening, I stood in our backyard, watching Hazel chase fireflies as the sun set. The importance of setting boundaries had never been clearer. This experience, though filled with challenges, taught us the strength found in adversity and the vital role of parental protection. I used to think keeping peace in the family meant letting things slide. I mused to Mike as he joined me, wrapping his arm around my shoulders. He nodded, his voice steady. "Yeah, but real peace comes from respect, not silence." We did right by Hazel. Hazel's laughter filled the evening air, her joy a striking contrast to the tears we had left behind. She was learning early about personal autonomy and respect, lessons that would shape her into a confident, self-assured individual. Our family's journey, marked by trials but defined by unity and love, serves as a testament to the power of standing up for what's right. For those of you watching, remember the importance of nurturing a safe, loving environment where young minds can thrive. That brings us to the end of our story. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Do you think it's ever justifiable for family members to impose their personal values on children without the parents' consent? Share your thoughts in the comments below.